At exactly 3:17 a.m., I saw a woman standing in the middle of the road. I was driving alone through a deserted mountain highway, the kind of road where you could drive for an hour without seeing another car. Rain tapped against my windshield, the fog was getting thicker, and my GPS kept recalculating the route. Then I saw her, a woman, standing perfectly still in the middle of the highway. She was wearing a long, dark coat, and her hair covered most of her face. I immediately hit the brakes. My headlights illuminated her for a second. Then they flickered, and she disappeared. I looked around. Nothing. No footsteps. No movement. Just an empty road covered in rain. I told myself it had been a trick of the fog. Then my GPS spoke. Continue straight for 4.2 miles. I started driving again, but after a few seconds, something strange appeared on the passenger seat. A small, wet handprint. I froze. The passenger door was locked. The windows were closed. Yet the handprint was fresh. Before I could react, my radio turned on by itself. Static filled the car. Then a woman's voice whispered through the speakers. "Why didn't you stop?" My entire body went cold. I switched the radio off. The voice continued. "Why didn't you stop?" I slammed the power button again. Nothing happened. The radio remained silent. Then I noticed something in my rearview mirror. The woman was standing behind my car. She wasn't moving. She was simply staring at me. I accelerated. The speedometer climbed to 60, 70, 80. I didn't look back again. A few minutes later, I saw a road sign through the fog. "Welcome to Blackwood." I had never heard of Blackwood, and according to my GPS, I was still more than 30 miles from the nearest town. The road narrowed. Trees surrounded me on both sides. Then my GPS suddenly changed. Destination reached. I stared at the screen. My destination was supposed to be a gas station 18 miles away, but the GPS showed a red dot directly beside my car. Then another message appeared. "Passenger detected." I slowly looked toward the passenger seat. Nothing. I looked back at the road, and that's when I saw her again. The woman. This time she wasn't standing in the middle of the road. She was standing beside my driver's window. I screamed and swerved. The car nearly crashed into a tree. When I looked back, she was gone. I stopped the car. The rain had become almost completely silent. I could hear only my own breathing. Then something knocked on the rear window. 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. I didn't move. Another 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. My phone suddenly vibrated. I looked down. Unknown number. One new message. I opened it. The message contained only 5 words. "You passed me too fast." I dropped the phone. Then another message appeared. "Turn around." I didn't. Instead, I started the engine. The car struggled to start. Once, twice, 3 times. Finally, the engine came alive. I put the car into drive, and then I noticed something in the rearview mirror. Someone was sitting in the back seat. A woman. Her face was completely hidden by wet black hair. I couldn't breathe. I locked the doors. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. Then she slowly lifted her head and whispered, "You stopped for me last time." My blood turned cold. "Last time?" She raised one hand and pointed toward the road ahead. I looked forward. There was a huge concrete barrier across the highway. I slammed the brakes. The car stopped inches from it, and that's when I understood. There was no road beyond the barrier. The highway had been destroyed years ago. I looked at my GPS. The screen was completely black. Then the woman's voice came from the back seat. "You always forget." I slowly turned around. The back seat was empty. I looked toward the windshield. The rain had stopped. The fog had disappeared. And in front of me was the same highway. But something was different. There are dozens of abandoned cars scattered across the road. Some were burned. Some were completely destroyed. And every single one had its headlights pointing toward me. I looked at the dashboard clock. 3:17 a.m. Still, the exact same time. My phone suddenly turned on. There was one new photo in my gallery. I opened it. It was a picture of my car, taken from behind. I zoomed in. The woman was standing next to my vehicle. Then I noticed the date of the photo. It wasn't tonight. It was from exactly 1 year ago. And beneath the photo was a caption I had never written. "He never made it home." I looked at the driver's seat. My hands were still gripping the steering wheel, but they looked pale, almost transparent. Then I heard the woman's voice one final time. "You're not driving through the road." A pause. "You're driving through the memory of it." The headlights went out. The screen went black. And at exactly 3:18 a.m., another car entered the highway. Its driver was alone until he saw a man standing in the middle of the road. A man wearing a dark jacket. A man with wet hair covering his face. A man who looked strangely familiar. And when the driver stopped, I whispered from the darkness, "Why didn't you stop for me?"